And Corey, now this one, as we get kind of back rolling here, had to be recorded from our various homes. So it is pre-recorded. If you're in the chat, thanks for watching, but we're not going to be able to answer your questions today. We'll be back at it normal next week. But as it pertains to today's show,
that's my fault, by the way. You let people know it's my fault again that we're not live in studio.
Well, I mean, this one I'm going to let slide a little more than some of the others, Corey, because you are actually going to a doctor's appointment without getting too detailed.
Well, it's my stomach stuff. I got a GI visit. I'll let people know. I'm an open book.
Yeah,
I'll let people know. So I have a GI visit that I needed to go. I needed to go to. I couldn't put this one off.
So hopefully you guys will be forgiving this time around.
Right.
By the way, our thanks to Register Sausage as always. For their support of Seminole Headlines. And, of course, why wouldn't they? We've grown their business in a way they could never have done simply on their own. It is I cannot wait for the payoff when the renewed negotiations occur, when we sit back at the table next year. This is going to be a windfall for the three of us.
Right,
in a similar fashion that it was a windfall for Register Sausage.
Yeah,
I'll grant you.
Well, I was going to say, once the pork prices come down, I think Ben's going to feel a lot better about his endeavors. But I do have some breaking news. This isn't totally confirmed, but this is what I'm hearing from the grapevine. The hooligans in Alaska,
what?
They might be able to have registered sausage shipped to them very soon. So we know they don't have permanent addresses. They're all vagabonds on the run from the law. But if they're in a place long enough where they can receive a shipment, it looks like Register soon will be able to ship directly to Alaska, and they can get their registered sausage.
I'll be honest. I don't know how I feel about that, because I don't want registered sausage to be the last thing a murder victim eats while they're in the cellar, before they know they're about to die, but he feeds them one last meal of sausage.
No, I actually think the opposite is true, Corey. If you're going to have to die, you've been captured by a serial killer in Alaska. Wouldn't you want that as opposed to a slice of bologna?
Yeah, you get andouille, you get a andouille or some jalapeno cheddar. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Tough set of circumstances, but I've got some registered sausage here. This is really good.
By the way, elite headliner Sean, the original elite headliner, sent me a voice text of him pronouncing andouille because he spent a lot of time in New Orleans.
Sure.
And he's taken umbrage to our various pronunciations. So anyway,
can you repeat how he said it?
I mean, I think it was just andouille. Like it wasn't. Right. I listened to it, and it wasn't. It didn't have the andouille or whatever.
The Cajun accent. Andouille.
Did he put an emphasis on the first half of the word or the second half?
Man, the problem with voice text is they disappear. So I went back to try to listen to it again, and it was gone. But I think it was just andouille. I listened to it, and I was like, "What's the big deal, buddy?" But
so register sausage. We can't move forward without me going, "Yay, sausage!"
Yes,
all right, now it's official.
And registermeats.com is the website, and they will deliver apparently to at least 49 of the states. We're still not sure about Hawaii.
I don't think they're ever going to be able to deliver to Hawaii. That seems
that's
seems
too
like
much.
A bit much.
Yeah, that's too
much to ask for. All right, so spring practice starts back up. I want to start by noting that on Warchant.com, Ira has addressed it. This is the last we're going to talk about it. All you sons of bitches who are still clamoring for more quarterbacks to be brought in, he has told you it can't happen. It won't happen. It's never going to happen. Look at these bums and where they went. There's nobody available. That article can be read on warchant.com.
That sums it up pretty well.
Did I summarize it pretty well?
You did. I think you could have saved me a lot of time. And I had Austin help me out with some of the research. He dug up some of the research for it. But yeah, I mean, I think we found like 40-something, about 45 or so quarterbacks who went from one FBS school to another FBS school. And only 10 of them went to schools where there was actually a quarterback. And none of them were a Jordan Travis. The other ones that they went to, well, probably 5 of them are probably going to be the starter at their new school. Of those 10 that went to schools that already have a quarterback, probably 5 of them are already starters this spring because they went to schools that had terrible quarterbacks coming back. And then the other 4 of them are younger guys who are going to sit and probably wait their turn. But my point was, okay, so maybe the pool of guys you could have found from FBS schools to come be a backup to Jordan Travis in case he gets hurt are 4 guys who really haven't played either and wouldn't have done much to make you feel better about this season. So it stinks. But I think it's life in college football in 2022. You don't have P.T. Willis's and Danny Cannell's and guys like that on the bench. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, they all transfer because they don't win the starting job, and they're like, "I'm out of here. Screw it." Yeah, it's. There was a time everybody knows famously for those younger viewers and listeners. There was a time where Florida State was a factory in which you sat your turn all the way through your you were redshirt junior,
right,
and then you got an opportunity to play once the other guy departed, and usually the other guy was a Heisman candidate.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, you stepped in to fill those rather sizable shoes. And because Florida State was on such a roll, you became a Heisman candidate because in all likelihood, you were immensely talented coming out of high school and you've had plenty of time in the system. And everybody knew with those receivers and that offensive line and the loaded nature of those rosters that you were going to be great. Even if you weren't great, if you were Thad Busby good, you still put up big numbers. So, That is long gone in the world of college football. It's especially been long gone at Florida State for some time now. But, hey, at the end of the day, let's just knock on wood that Jordan Travis continues to progress. We'll get a chance to watch him again this week. In fact, practice starts back up today. I think there's a lot of intrigue surrounding the spring on into the fall. We've talked about it a lot already. The level of competition within each segment group is very intense. Guys either fighting for starting positions, backup roles, whatever it might be, reps of some kind. That has been, to me, the story of camp so far. There's a lot we still have to see unfold. I am a little concerned. We should address it. I know that we've talked about it. Obviously Warchant has addressed it as much as you can without complete knowledge of the future. But having an injury at the receiving corps to the most experienced receiver you were bringing in due to a car accident, knock on wood, everybody's okay there again, is, in my mind, fairly significant and very, very disappointing. Obviously, not to be crass, there's more to life than football. But if we're addressing just the football, that really sucks.
Yeah, are we at the point now, Corey, with like Winston Wright, where we could say, okay, the accident happened, I don't know, 9-10 days ago, and it's awful, and thankfully everybody survived. But is it okay now to start?
Yes.
Just talking about the football side of it and the fact
of course,
that,
we felt bad on Wake Up about talking about it initially. I just had to keep qualifying it. Like, look, we hope he's okay first, but this is a football show, and we do have to talk about how it impacts a football team. We're not being callous about it. It's like, do you remember the dude? Alabama had an offensive lineman that passed away over the summer, and this was probably 10 years ago. And he passed away, and one of the writers, I think it was a Sports Illustrated guy, like, well, Alabama was pretty prescient for working these other guys in at right guard because, I mean, do you remember that at all? The guy was like,
I didn't at all until you said that. Now I think I do.
He's like, Alabama was pretty prescient for working these other guys in at right guard because Smith died on Tuesday. Like, just the most callous thing you could ever write. It's unbelievable. So we're not doing that, and Winston Wright is alive. But yeah, man, when you talk about the impact on the football team, he's the guy you knew for sure what he was.
Plug and play.
Yeah, you knew what he was. Johnny Wilson and Pittman they have a lot of potential, and they might end up being good, but they haven't proven at this level. This dude had, 100 catches the last 2 years?
It's just
by far the most proven guy.
Yeah. He had 60-something last year. And, this is the thing where, like, part of me is like, man, Mike Norvell, when are you going to catch a break? Like, I know his whole thing is preaching response because, you got to respond to whatever comes your way. And it's like, dude, we've seen your responses. Like, all we've gotten is responses. Can you catch a break at some point?
Have somebody respond to you having a good team.
Yeah, I said yesterday on the wildly popular Jeff Cameron show.
Hey, can I interrupt real quick? Was Ira on the show yesterday?
He was not. He chose to not be on the show yesterday. I'll
be honest. I was on my walk. And I got on YouTube and I'm like, all right, there's Jeff and Tom again. Nope. Let me fast forward. There's Jeff Tom again. Nope. I went all the way through the whole show and couldn't find Ira, and I threw my phone in the woods.
I tried to call in, and Tom just kept hanging up on me.
Okay, I don't want to roll anybody, but Tom told me you weren't coming on that. I thought you had prior stuff.
It's possible. I also think we did the Smash Sunday night, so maybe he felt like people had enough of Ira and Jeff. So,
there's never enough of Ira and Jeff. We could do a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday Smash, and everybody would be like, "All right, yeah."
But you were saying you were talking about Winston yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I think people could tell in my voice that I went from, okay, well, now you got to pivot and do this and this. I wanted to scream, drop an F-bomb at the top of my lungs. I mean, I'm sorry. You can be the most embittered and frustrated critic of Florida State football out there and not agree with me that Mike Norvell is a good coach. Let's just say that that's your viewpoint, right? You don't think he's a good coach. You don't think Florida State should have ever hired him. You haven't seen any evidence that he's a good coach. But even if you're that guy, you have to admit this poor bastard has been absolutely screwed at every turn. I mean, there's nothing else that could go wrong. Though you go out and address the most glaring needs you have.
There's a lot more that could go wrong. Don't put that in the universe that there's nothing else that could go wrong.
I'm saying like it is fairly evident to anybody, even the most harsh critic, that this guy can't catch a break. It's absurd. You go do the right thing and you bring in these receivers and you find one that okay, look, this guy has proven it at the Power 5 level for consecutive seasons. I know he can play. He's done it against great competition. Okay, I'll get him, and then we'll take a chance on some of these other guys that have upside. Let's hope they come in and play well, but at least I know I got this guy. Are you kidding me?
But we're more concerned about Winston's welfare, so we hope you're okay, Winston. Right. We really hope you're okay.
Yeah, this is a football show, so we have to talk about the impact of the football team. But, yeah, we hope you're okay, buddy.
Winston, we hope you're okay and that you're back at practice on Tuesday. That's what we hope. Frustrating.
That's happening.
I don't know. There's nothing more to say about it. It is very impactful, and now there's more pressure on these guys who are either returning starters or the guys they brought in who are very inexperienced, like you said, Corey, perhaps with upside. I do see, if you're watching the feed here, well done. We do have hashtag we hope you're okay.
Yeah, that's big. That comes from the heart, for real.
And Tom did that because he's got yours spelled correctly with the apostrophe.
Yeah.
Most people.
We hope you're okay. Yeah.
The receiver position, and again, we'll find out more. As you said, FSU gets back to practice today and Thursday, going into their first scrimmage on Saturday. We'll be out there. People can follow all of our coverage at warchant.com. Practice is at 4:00. We'll get done about 6:30. But we'll get some update from Mike Norvell. But from right now, it doesn't sound. I mean, he's certainly not going to be back for the spring, and we don't know whether or not he'll be available for the fall yet.
We do. They do have. It really is. But one positive is, in my opinion, and he hasn't even been full strength yet. But I mean, I assume he and Ja'Kai Douglas would play the same position, right? A slot guy or close to it. And man, Ja'Kai has looked good. Like, not just good for Ja'Kai, not just good for a Florida State receiver. Like, he's looked good. Again, it was 1 week, but he strung together some really nice days, and he and Jordan seem to have like a connection, I guess. I don't know. Jordan likes throwing to him. So that is a positive that Ja'Kai, to me, Micah Pittman's looked good too, but Ja'Kai has looked like he's taken a next step, which could be really big. But yeah, you certainly would rather have the guy with 100 catches in his career.
And I know like everybody was kind of ready for Pokey and Keyshawn to move on. And it's like, well, maybe, Pokey, hang tight, buddy. Yeah. Hang tight.
Well, here's the thing with that. We got to take a quick break, but I'll say this. There's a place for Pokey. It's just he can't be your one.
Yeah.
And we've said this before that, look, if Pokey's your 3, okay, all right, or your 4, you're feeling all right about that. He just can't be your go-to receiver. And, he's just not that guy.
Well, the analogy, and the perfect analogy to that is like Anthony Polite was a great third guy, third or fourth guy for Florida State basketball last year. This year, even before he got injured, and if he needs to be the guy,
you're in trouble.
That's going to make things tough for you.
Yeah. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Because of you. Well, we keep you regular. No, that's true. But I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is Dr. Ryan Finn from Finn Chiropractic. As a chiropractor, we correct subluxations. Here's the deal. Your brain runs the body through the nervous system. If a bone gets out of place or subluxates, it puts pressure on your nerves. These can cause headaches, neck pain, back pain, arm pain. With Finn Chiropractic, we turn your subluxation into relaxation with an adjustment. Come on by and see us or get in touch with us at finnchiro.com. That's FENNCHIRO.com. Because your chiropractor loves you and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus half hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Tallahassee's 30-year-old funny paper and American Legion Post 13 have joined forces to become Major Morale. The new magazine has 4 more pages of post activities and military information that you probably never knew. But don't worry, it's still as politically correct and newsworthy as always. Okay, it's the same funny stuff, but it's still only available at the sponsors' locations like Keith Lawson Services, Tallahassee Automobile Museum, ABC Flooring, or Krispy Kreme Donuts. The country's best donut place has great different monthly specialty donuts like Ghirardelli, Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and too many more to mention. Sign up online at KrispyKreme.com for exclusive email discounts or download the app that lets you pile up rewards every time you order ahead. Krispy Kreme, America's favorite donut.
That dinner was delicious. What's next?
I'm thinking just the check.
Do you frequently have gas, bloating, diarrhea, stomach pain, or loose oily stools after eating? One or more of these symptoms could be a sign of exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, and it may be time to talk to your doctor.
If you have EPI, Creon may be right for you. Creon, pancrelipase, is an oral prescription medication that treats EPI. Creon replaces enzymes you may be missing to help you break down food properly.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Do not chew capsules or contents as this may cause mouth irritation. Tell your doctor if you have unusual or severe stomach pain, bloating, trouble passing stool, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, worsening of painful swollen joints, or allergic reactions. Other side effects may include changes in blood sugars, gas, dizziness, or sore throat and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Talk to your doctor about Creon, the #1 prescribed EPI treatment, and visit gocreon.com. That's GOCREON.com. Or call 1-800-633-9110.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
We'll talk Radio Warchant TV. This is Seminole Headlines. Good to be with you. By the way, just a quick reminder, today's show previously recorded just before we started. So if you guys are listening on 93.3, just know it's not live right now. And if you're in the chat watching the show, we appreciate that. But also we can't answer your questions in the chat this go around. We will have headliner questions next hour. Ira put the call out to everybody. I know. Corey, I assumed you did as well. I don't know. I didn't look.
Come on.
Okay,
come on, man.
I
I hope people, when they see previously recorded, don't think this is like last week's show. It literally, we're recording it an hour early. Or
yeah. No, it's
early.
like, it's
This
things
is
are
timely,
happening
folks.
right now. Yeah. We're okay. We're okay.
It also should say previously recorded Corey's fault. Like
Corey's
that's
Corey's GI appointment screwed everything again. Second time we did it when we started this on YouTube. I had to take because of the skin cancer.
Hey,
I can't
Corey,
catch a break.
I have to tell you both a little behind the scenes here for everybody. Yeah, there we go.
Thanks.
On the chat, it says literally recorded 10:25 a.m. today. Corey's fault.
Right.
So a little behind the curtain look at the Seminole Headlines production team and talent. I will tell you that I was on a mountain called Big Mountain in Whitefish, Montana. I got to the bottom of
Really
said
creative
mountain.
people out there in Whitefish, Montana. Ooh,
Yeah,
what should
Big
we
Mountain.
call that?
Big
It's
Mountain.
a mountain that's big. Let's call it Big
Yeah.
Mountain. Great.
Big Mountain. So there's no confusing it. And I got to the bottom, and it was whatever time it was out in Montana. I think it was like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I said, well, I've been up for several hours skiing. I've earned a very big beer, and I'm going to go inside and get one. And
Big
so
beer next to Big Mountain.
they're apt to give you one there at the lodge at the base. And I went in and got one, and I saw the text thread that Corey sent that, hey, guys, sorry, I got a doctor's appointment Tuesday. And Ira's response almost made me spit my beer out. I thought it was perfect. As he said, you and your Tuesday doctor's appointments.
It's crazy.
Not that I wasn't compassionate about your
Right,
situation.
Yeah. You didn't even ask me what it was.
Not that
You
I
didn't
wasn't
ask me what the doctor's appointment was.
Not that now Winston knows how we are. It's not just about you, Winston. It's how
Yeah.
we
You
are.
should have.
We're
You
about
should have
business.
You should have written that text. You and your Tuesday doctor's appointments. # I hope you're okay.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, he didn't though. He didn't give me the well wishes he gave Winston Wright. That's for sure.
No, but I laughed. I literally was drinking a beer, and I was like, "That's awesome," because you texted what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I'm like, Corey, there are other days of the week.
I know,
Doctor's appointments can exist on a Thursday.
I know.
Or a Friday morning, or-
Yeah. That was my fault, gang. My fault. Not only the day, but smack dab at 2:00, right in the middle. It's not even like if I'd done it at 2:45, I could have done an hour of the show at least. But no, I did it right in the middle where I couldn't do either.
Well, that's like today's developments, which, again, I'll continue. We're an open book here on Seminole Headlines. My wife today tells me as she's walking out the door this morning, hey, listen, I hope you don't have practice today. So what do you mean practice? I'm not playing on a team. She goes, no, you're not going over to practice, are you, today? They're not practicing today. So yes, of course they are practicing today. I told you when we were flying back that this is going to be a busy week. They're starting back practice. She goes, oh, well, you got to pick up the boys at 4:30. I need you to pick them up and take them to the dentist.
Oh, at 4:30.
Oh, I said, they're closed. She goes, no, I don't want to get into the details of who their dentist is. It's not Birch Orthodontics because this is an actual dentist appointment, not Birch. Right. And so anyhow, I said, okay, well, we're going to have to talk about that. And then that's how that ended. Her walking out the door, me pouring coffee, going, we're going to have to talk about that.
Great, man. Awesome.
I'm just going to let you guys know that, Ira and Kim have a different relationship. Ira explains what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You
Kim's
guys
the one
can work
taking
on
marching orders.
You guys can work on that, but you know how it rolls at the Schofel house. So it's
my favorite part of that is I can envision this moment in which Ira walks in, Kim's crocheting.
The whole house is yarn.
Yeah. Ira says, put your damn yarn down for a second. I want
Fix me a pot pie.
Yeah. While you're heating up my dinner, I want you to know I won't be back tomorrow till whenever it is I get back.
Yeah, I might not ever come back. We'll see.
It'd be like 9 or 10 o'clock. I feel like we've done almost anything we could do to raise these three girls. I'm about out. I'm going to take it on down the road for a week.
When I do get back, though, I know what's going to happen. This place is going to be clean.
Yeah, the yarn's going to be picked up.
and that pot pie is going to be warm.
Yeah. And then I might have to go cover practice. So we'll talk. We'll see. That's how this is going to go. That's how it's going to go. I'm out here making moves, woman. I'm out here making moves so that the Schofels can prosper. Look at this place. Yeah.
You think this yarn is cheap? You think this yarn is free?
Yeah. Look at all the yarn behind you, Kim. Who do you think bought that yarn?
Yeah. Warchant did.
So anyhow, back to the team, and somebody from Warchant.com will be out there today. Several people. And I know I'm going to be there Thursday, and there's a chance I'll be there today, but I have to have that conversation. That said, I don't know. What are you guys looking forward to this week as they get headed towards the first scrimmage? I really wish we would obviously be there for that first scrimmage. Maybe the three of us, our sneaky ways, will find a way to watch that scrimmage on Saturday. I don't know. We're not saying we're going to do that.
I can't, guys. Breaking news here. I can't watch the scrimmage because my son is in the play Oklahoma on Saturday night, and I have to go watch that. So I'm glad the scrimmage is closed because I would have hated to break Brady's heart and tell him his old man couldn't be there to watch a musical.
Scrimmage is in the morning, buddy. You could make the drive up to Atlanta that afternoon, but
it's closed, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's too bad because I really was looking for an excuse not to have to go watch an 8th grade performance of Oklahoma.
I was about to say that tests the boundary of your love.
Oh, buddy. Yes, it does. It does. I watched a scene because I know his character, and I watched a scene that his character's in, and like a song that he has to sing, and I'm like, this is awful. And this is a paid professional actor doing this, and a famous. I can't imagine what this 8th grade nonsense is going to look like. So, good luck, kids at Osborne Middle. You're going to do it. You're going to knock it out of the park, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Corey will be there to support you.
Yeah. So, but what I'm looking forward to, just this whole week in general, don't roll your eyes, but I'm serious. Back to the quarterbacks, and Ira talking about if they're going to bring somebody in. If Rodemaker can still look like he did at the end of last week, you start to feel a little bit better about what you got. I'm being honest. Ira, back me up. You watched him.
Yeah, no, I've been the one that's been cautioning everybody to not just throw in the towel and take Rodemaker since last season, because I thought there were times in practice last season when he looked pretty good. And when he did get in briefly, he didn't look nearly as bad as he did in the spring or the year before. I think Jeff's still scarred because he was down there on the field when Tate went in there for the spring game, and whatever happened. We're not going to talk about that.
A complete meltdown happened, Ira. A complete meltdown.
But in the fall, in practice, I think he started looking better, and I think he's looked better this spring. Yeah, man. I mean, we've always known he could throw the football. There's no question of that. The question was the awareness, the speed of the game, getting the ball out of his hands quickly, and that seems to be coming along now. Granted, it hasn't been like real true scrimmage situations, so that's what we have to see.
Hey, so the whole thing is this. All three of us have stated repeatedly that he has physical tools. There's no getting around that. He's a very good athlete. He's a big, strong kid. He's tall. He's got a good arm. He throws the deep ball extremely well. I love that sideline pattern. He throws that as well as anybody on this team. Better than Jordan, better than most of the guys on this team. Everybody on this team. He throws it really well. He's never thrown that pass or any consistently good passes in moments where it's live, if you will. It's a scrimmage. It's a spring game. It's a real game. We've never seen it happen, and maybe it will. I'm not here to say it can't happen. I'm rooting for that kid because they need a viable backup. And if he's good, they've got one because he does have the tools. And, every cliche under the sun, he's a coach's kid and all that other stuff. But, man, he's not devoid of talent. None of us will know, though, and I think everybody, even if you're a big proponent of his, we would all hold our breath if he gets put in a situation where it matters. It's a game, or if it's a scrimmage or whatever. I need to see him do it there because I'm rooting for him.
Right, but this was the other point I was making in that column, though, and I'm sure people are going to be throwing stuff at me when they read that column because everybody wants a good backup quarterback. But really, there aren't many teams that even have a good backup quarterback. Forget about the transfer portal. I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks in this conference, Sam Hartman's backup quarterback has never played. Phil Jerkovich at Boston College, his backup quarterback has barely never played. It's not like there's a bunch of teams that have backups. Like, you could have the best quarterback in the country. If your backup goes down, you're going to be in trouble. Now, the special situation here with Jordan is his durability, and the questions about can he make it through a season? Some of those guys have. Phil Jerkovich didn't, but some of those guys have made it through full seasons by themselves, and so that creates a little bit of a predicament. But it's not like there's a lot of teams with proven backups, and if you don't have one, it's very difficult to get one because who wants to transfer in to be your backup if they have any experience at all?
And you think about like if Devin Leary went down at NC State,
his
what
guys
happens to that? Or Van Dyke in Miami, what happens to those teams?
Leary's backup, I think, has thrown 9 passes in his career.
Yeah. So look, but you're right. The one question is, I don't think any of us have ever we have, but I think Florida State fans know that Jordan Travis can play. He's a solid-ish to good-ish quarterback. Maybe turns into a really good quarterback. But again, it's just, can you count on that guy? What are the chances that your backup quarterback is not going to have to play significant minutes this season? I would say close to 0. And I'm not talking about games, but at least a series or two or a half or two or something. It just seems like that's an inevitability where maybe at these other schools, they don't feel that. Like Van Dyke, I don't know that he got hurt. He might've when he started games for Miami last year, but Devin Leary missed time 2 years ago. Right. And that was why Bailey Hockman was playing. Right.
And then their season went in the tank. The question, I guess, would be, you're looking at the possibility of the only real option, because again, I don't think you were going to be able to get somebody to come in as a proven player to come be a backup. Spencer Rattler was not coming here to back up Jordan Travis. The only option, I guess, would have been one would have been, as you pointed out earlier, maybe go get a Division II guy or an FCS guy, maybe, and try to make that happen. But that would be a jump up in competition. The only other really thing to do would have been to cut bait with Jordan Travis and bring in a Haas.
Well, that's what I was going to say. When you say Spencer Rattler wasn't coming here to back up Jordan Travis,
Right.
no, he wasn't. But he
You
could have
would
come in and been your starting quarterback.
You would have had to have,
if he was interested.
Right. You would have had to have say, Jordan, we're done, and then bring in somebody else and then hope it works with them.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. There's no guarantees.
And
Other
I think
than the kid from Oklahoma.
I was going to say Caleb Williams, Florida State. Just know I'm 100% confident in this. If Caleb Williams said he wanted to come to Florida State,
right.
Norvell would have been, hey, Jordan, we got to talk. Jordan, you up? Hey, J-Trav, you up? We got to have a conversation. Like, there's no way he's saying no to Caleb Williams because he doesn't want to hurt Jordan Travis's feelings.
Right.
Maybe even with Spencer Rattler, too, although I don't think he's as good as Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But that's about it, man. There's nobody
plus
else that does it.
There's questions about Spencer as a teammate and all that stuff, too.
Yeah.
Well, also, Corey, you don't have to speculate. He lost his job to Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
So-
well, that's true. The proof is there. He's not as good. Right.
Spencer's not as good as Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
They were on the
smart.
same team.
Yeah, that's a great experiment.
Yeah. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
The Lake City Police Department is investigating a shooting that led to 2 victims' deaths. Yesterday, LCPD responded to a report of 2 dead victims at 258 Northeast Hernando Avenue. Upon their arrival, officers found a silver car with 2 front seat occupants who were dead from gunshots. If anyone has any information about this incident, please contact Investigator Rose with the Lake City Police Department at 386-752-4343. 2 wastewater plant facilities in Gadsden County experienced water overflows this weekend. The Quincy Wastewater Treatment Plant began overflowing the facility flow equalization tanks at around 7:30 p.m. Friday because of heavy rain that accumulated in the area. The facility's pumps were running but could not keep up with the high flows. The facility overflowed until 2 p.m. Saturday. It is estimated 100,000 gallons escaped into the Quincy Creek. The second overflow occurred at the Havana Wastewater Treatment Plant. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with a high of 79. Winds out of the south 10 to 20 miles per hour. Overcast tonight, chance for scattered thunderstorms, lows around 68. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 73, cloudy. Upper 60s Thursday and Friday with a chance for scattered storms Thursday. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 76.
It's time to save some money and fill your tummy. Text the word foodies to 850-230-9456 and win 10% off your first order at foodiestakeout.com from great local restaurants like Horizons Grill, El Jalisco, Jerry's Midtown Cafe, and many more. Text the word foodies to 230-9456. That's 230-9456. Join the Foodies Takeout family and text foodies to 230-9456 and win now.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
It's Congressman Michael Waltz on the Greg Tish Show.
Good morning, Congressman. How are you doing?
Hey, doing well.
Again, just what you have to go through day in and day out. I don't know how you have hair left, or like Matty Rowe, just completely bald.
Hey!
Sorry.
And the irony of it all, the progressives are the tail wagging the dog. This whole bipartisan White House is a joke. We're just watching them, eat their own.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
It'll be fascinating to see, and welcome back, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. It will be fascinating to see how Jordan plays. And I don't mean the quality of his play. Obviously, we hope he plays well. And for Florida State to have any success, he's going to have to play well. And I think we assume he will because the offensive line is going to be better. They have, in theory, more weapons at wide receiver than they had. They have 47 tight ends on the roster. If a second one could emerge to be even decent, then maybe, again, you have more options. But I'm curious how he plays in terms of being a runner because he is the guy now, and we don't have any proven backup, and there is no experienced quarterback that transferred in from UCF or anywhere else, right? You now know you got to make it through a season. And I think ideally, obviously, you never want to limit yourself, especially if you have a unique ability. And he has an ability that very few people who've ever played the position have in terms of making guys miss and utilizing his skill set as a runner. But maybe less running around would be ideal, obviously, if somebody, a second or a third receiver could emerge, then we can get into a rhythm throwing the football and then only run when you absolutely have to. If partly just because, A, that's ideal to open up your playbook, but B, because we need you to stay healthy, man. You can't be out here running every play.
I mean, I do think that's what they want him to. They want him to be more of a drop back passer. They want him to stay in the pocket. But, and I think Corey's made this point before, and I think it's accurate. We should go back and look at all the times Jordan's got shaken up in a game. But it seems like most of them have been when he's been throwing, not when he's been running.
Last year was the Wake Forest game, that stupid Hail Mary between. It wasn't a stupid call. That was on Jordan. Like there's a dude coming right at you.
You've got to get rid of the ball.
You can't wait till he's in your chest plate to throw the ball. You can't do that. So that he got banged up in that one and couldn't finish that game, which was a big deal because the other kid couldn't score a touchdown. And then the Florida game, I think that was a pass too. I think
it was a pass. He got drilled in the pocket. They missed a block, and he got hammered from behind. And he fell on his shoulder.
Honestly thought last year he did a really good job of when he got the yardage he needed to get. He either got down or got out of bounds. I think that was instilled in him. He didn't have too many plays where he tried to make a guy miss that he shouldn't have and took a huge hit.
The Syracuse game which is fine, and then the Louisville game, there's two moments where he did, and I think he was trying to exude toughness and get his team back. I love how competitive he is. So it's such a catch-22 because if he lowers his shoulder and gets an extra 4 yards, that fires everybody up. Yeah. And, of course, if you do that and you injure yourself, we're screwed.
Yeah, so. I definitely – unless it's a game-winning drive, Jordan Travis does not need to be running over anybody. I mean, because – it's like when Ponder tried to tackle the dude at Clemson. Just, man, like, we know you're tough. Like, that's cool, but you're the quarterback. And so know the situation. If you're fighting for yards on a game-winning drive, man, lay it on the line. But if it's in the second quarter, dude, nobody cares how tough you are. They need you. They don't have any other options, really, proven options at least. You have to stay in the game. So that's the thing. I mean, and Jimbo used to say that all the time. I mean, because people would talk about Ponder and maybe he runs too much and because he was banged up, and then EJ and Jimbo would always say most quarterbacks get hurt in the pocket. It's not when they're running because when they're running they can see what's coming. So I think, but you don't need any of the unnecessary. There have been times Jordan has stayed in the game after some of those toughness plays like you're talking about, but man, you see him winding up his shoulder. He doesn't look right.
I'm not a doctor, and so I don't know what he was diagnosed with last year, but clearly the shoulder has been a problem for him his whole career. Like he's had shoulder issues. Like that is an area that has been compromised. And you see it. It's almost instantaneous when he gets up. There's that sagging of the shoulder, and you're like, man, I mean, it's just a problem area. Everybody's got him. I'm not saying he's weak. It just sucks. But that is a problem. So we can't have that. I'm curious, by the way, we were talking about Tate last segment. If you think either of your opinion here, if he was forced to play like a significant amount of games, do you think he'd perform well? Do you feel like he's grown up and taken a step forward? Do you think there's confidence there that wasn't?
What I would say is this. I think he needs to have something good happen when the lights are on. And I think that could change. I know like last spring, before the spring game, if you can take yourself back before, I know that's scarred in your memory, but if you can go back before the spring game, there were a couple practices.
He was good.
That he looked really good. I think there was an open practice at the stadium where he looked really good. And I texted somebody that's close to him, and I said, hey, man, Tate looks really good because they weren't there. And they said, man, just if he gets some confidence, watch out. And that was somebody who knows him, and they were saying, he needs to get some confidence that he could play at this level. So I really think he just needs to – and then he gets forced into action as a true freshman, and I still don't like the play call against Jacksonville State. Anyway, but he has just terrible things happen the first couple times he gets into games. So any confidence he might have had was probably shattered. So to me, I just think if he could have something good happen early in a game, they could call a couple plays to get him some confidence. I think he can do it, but I really think he needs to have something good happen to believe it.
I think it. I mean, I think it could be as much as having a good spring game.
That could
you know
do
what I
it,
mean?
yeah.
Like he did. Last year it was so. Milton did what he did in the spring game, which was not what he was doing in practice. But all of a sudden, he's dropping dimes from the sky in the spring game. And then Jordan Travis was already a guy. And then you're looking at Chubba, who's the future. And then Tate went in there and just was not good. Just didn't look like he belonged, really, honestly. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but he didn't then. So if he goes and has another spring game sort of like that, where he just looks kind of out of sorts, that might be, literally, and I hate to do this, but confidence-wise, you're going to say to yourself, okay, so I'm just going to be good in practice, and then when the lights come on, I'm not any good anymore. And I'm never, it's a tough mental hump to get over. But if he goes and has a good spring game, all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm putting it out there, and it's going to be pressure on him because I've been talking about him like he's like he's Jameis Winston for the last week and a half. So as this spring goes and he keeps building and doing well, we hope there's going to be a lot of pressure for fans to see, okay, let's see what Tate Rodemaker actually looks like this year. And if he does poorly in the spring game, people will be done with him.
That'll be the key, because no matter what he does in practice, no matter what he does in these scrimmages with an empty stadium, he's going to feel different when he steps on that field on that Saturday, April 9th, right? Yeah.
Yep. There's a lot of pressure on him, and I how you internalize that, how you deal with that as a player, that's different for every person. There comes a time where for some players the light turns on and you get it and the game slows down and you feel comfortable in that situation even with the pressure. Other guys, they never are able to translate their skill set from the practice field into a game day situation. So that's why we're all holding our breath. We want it for him because we're not bad people. You root for kids to do well, but B, I think for Florida State, it's imperative that they find that he can play or not. You don't want AJ Duffy to have to back up a situation where he comes in as a true freshman and has to play. Now, I'm not saying he couldn't do a good job, and he's obviously had moments in these practices where he's been awesome. But he's a true freshman. You just don't want to have to continue this cycle where you're thrusting guys into action well before they're mentally and physically prepared to play. So you need you need Tate Rodemaker to play well.
Let me ask you guys this. Would you, if you were the head coach, sometimes the head coach can kind of manage things in a spring game to give somebody a better chance for success. Like part of the Tate's problem a lot of times in the past has been, if you're rolling them out there with the threes, man, what's going to happen? If you're Mike Norvell, could you figure out a way to maybe get him some, I'm not saying like give it to him like charity, but kind of put him in some positions where he can make something happen if it's available, as opposed to going out there with the third team line?
And maybe go to Jamie Robinson and Duke Cooper and be like, look, guys, if you have a chance to pick off a ball,
I'm not saying
understand that. We need this kid to have some confidence.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, could you remember DeAndre Francois in that spring game? Yeah. Where Jimbo badly wanted DeAndre to do well. Like he wouldn't call sacks.
Right.
DeAndre fumbled and Jimbo's like, no, he was down.
Yeah.
He wanted DeAndre to come out of that spring game feeling good about himself.
Coaches can always set up circumstances where they basically tell their defensive coordinator, hey, I'm running this. I need you to run this. Counter to that, it's going to provide an opportunity here for a window.
Yeah,
and see if he could see it.
Right.
Yeah.
In the next spring, Malik Henry looked good. He was throwing a lot of tight end, outs to the tight end on bootlegs, but that, again, he had a really good spring game, and I think that was part of Jimbo's, like, I'm going to give this kid some easy layup throws.
I'm going to say
confidence going.
I think Ira, it would be
Whatever
a very
happened to Malik Henry.
Let's not do that.
Okay, sorry.
I think Netflix is starting another
yeah.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Here's what I would do, Ira. I would make it a very succinct and small window where I would give him a couple of opportunities to make some throws that I know he can make, that he'll be comfortable with, that are easy decisions, maybe half field reads, whatever it might be. But I'm then going to ratchet it up very quickly. I got to know going into fall, do I have a dude or not? I got to know. And I got to know, is it genuine? Is it not me setting him up so that he can succeed? Because that's not going to happen in a game. If he has to go in a game, it's on.
He couldn't make a deal with Duquesne.
Yeah,
guys, we'll
Extra-
take out Jordan just ran for 300 yards in the first half. We're going to put this other kid in the second half.
Yeah.
But could you just not disguise any coverages?
Yeah. Don't make him think. Let's just
Or we're putting Travis back in.
We're going to set records. We're setting records on you unless and maybe I offer him an extra $50,000 to kind of take a dive.
It's already embarrassingly sad that Florida State's playing Duquesne.
No, it's not. It's going to be a dub, man.
You want to further compromise the integrity of the sport by asking them to not cover.
That's going to be the most beautiful season opener since 2016, my friend.
Yeah, man. It's been a minute since they were 1-0.
Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
Property owner innocently signs something that turns all control of any claim settlement to an attorney that becomes the person designated to get the claim check and who controls the disbursement of the claim payment. If we want these rates to go down, we must reach out to our legislators and let them know how unaffordable home insurance has become and that we want them to support reform that will fix the issues. This has been an insurance market alert from Barbara at Faircloth Insurance in Tallahassee.
People trust Sellers for better tile, carpet, and hardwood flooring. Sellers Flooring Advisor Ryan Fitzgerald.
We understand most people don't come in with great knowledge of what they're looking for, what they need. So at Sellers, what we try to do is use our expertise to guide you through the process.
Get Sellers working for you.
We make it easy, and we have the experts on staff to get you where you need to be, and we give you the options.
On Capitol Circle Northeast, just north of Mahan Drive. Call 656-8453. Online at sellerstile.com.
Refreshing and simple. 2 words you don't hear many people use to describe their experience going through the process of getting a home loan. That's what puts the Hamilton Home Loans experience in a category all their own. If you're buying or refinancing a home, Hamilton Home Loans will provide a personalized mortgage experience that is dedicated to making the process refreshingly simple. It all begins with an initial consultation with an experienced Hamilton Home Loans advisor to find out what your goals are in order to find the right mortgage to suit your specific needs. Then, your personal home loan advisor will take you through all the steps from application, underwriting, approval, and closing, all the way to the front steps of your new home. Once you've experienced the Hamilton Home Loan process, you can be a customer for life and never have to pay lender fees again. For first responders, nurses, physician assistants, teachers, active and retired military, ask about the Hamilton for Heroes program. Personalized attention with your needs put first. Now that's refreshingly simple. Find out more at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 200719.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Wrapping up the hour, Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. We'll get to headliner questions next hour. Looking forward to it, in fact. I said yesterday on the show, I don't know if you agree with this or not, I still don't think they have, right now, with any degree of certainty, a pass rush off the edge. It could develop. There's some guys I'm excited to watch continue to grow, but I do think that's an area that they're going to have a problem with. They're going to have to do some other things and get creative in order to get pressure on the quarterback. They're not going to win a ton of one-on-one battles, and it'll feel more glaring in my mind because of how good they were at it last year, in particular a guy who may go top 10 in the draft.
It was funny. We posted our defensive roundtable yesterday at warchant.com that people can go back and read with all of our comments, and that was one of the topics. And, Tom Lang was like, well, actually – my expectations were so bad for the defensive ends that I saw some life there. But yeah, I mean, I think to me, it's they've got a bunch of possibles. They've got a bunch of Derek McClendon could take that next step. Jared Verse could be able to make that next adjustment from going from an FCS school. Quayshawn Fuller, Dennis Briggs making the move back to defensive end. It's like, I don't know, man. I feel like there's nobody you would put money on and say, okay, that guy's going to be a really good pass rusher. But they've got a bunch of guys who could be pass rushers, right?
McClendon could be. McClendon's has looked good. He's the one that I've noticed the most. But then look, man, Verse has some stuff to him that none of those other guys have. It's just a matter of, I guess technique, getting better at it. But man, he's going up against guys that are probably second teamers sometimes, and he's obliterating them. Like they can't stay in front of him. Now that's not going to happen against division. That's not going to happen against LSU. You're going to have more moves than just going speed rush around a guy. But there's a lot there, man. There's a lot there. Right. He's coming from Albany, but the stuff he has with the size and the speed and the quickness isn't normal. It's just a matter of can he turn into something, which we'll see. We'll see as this month goes on too.
You referenced really quick. Sorry, Ira. You referenced really quick that it's technique. It is technique, and he talked about it. He talked about it in the interview I did with him. He talked about it, a little bit, kind of, pretty extensively, in fact, where his hand placement needs to be, those kinds of things. He's learning. That's why I'm not saying that he's not a player or that some of these other guys can't get better. They can, and growth is entirely possible. And let's hope that happens. I don't think they have I don't think they have a guy right now on this roster that is just a natural pass rusher that looks like a guy that's a can't miss problem for offensive linemen tackles across the league. I don't think they have that guy yet. And I don't know that they'll have him this year. We'll see. But to your point, Ira, do they have some guys that might emerge as plus players, not dominant players, but just plus players? Yeah, I think they got a couple.
Well, and somebody in the comments on our thread, in the response to the roundtable on the Tribal Council, somebody was like, I don't get this feeling. I don't get this mentality where if we don't have a Jermaine Johnson or a first round pick, that we can't have a pass rush. And that's fair. I mean, teams have pass rushes that don't have, top 10 picks. But I think that's where it's going to be incumbent on Adam Fuller and Randy Shannon that, you can't, the difference this year is they won't be able to rely so much on that front four. I do think they're going to need to get it from some, the linebackers and DBs as well.
Yeah, when people say that, I want them to know that what we're saying isn't that you can't have a pass rush, but rather it's less than ideal if you have to get it in other ways. The perfect scenario for every defensive coordinator is that I can get pressure with my front four. I don't have to stunt. I don't have to play games up front. I don't have to do things where I trick you. I don't have to bring an extra man. You don't want to do that, obviously. So we're just saying that they're going to have to do that, and they didn't last year.
Here's a little bit of trivia for you guys. Do you guys know who led the 2013 team in sacks?
Christian Jones?
LaMarcus Joyner.
LaMarcus Joyner.
With 4.5. So the team lead, and that's one of the best defenses there's ever been.
Yeah.
And the team leader was a cornerback, slot corner. Did y'all hear that? I just knocked the bottle on the floor.
Yeah.
That had 4.5 sacks. But it's not like those quarterbacks had a bunch of time to throw.
No, and the key is, and Jimbo used to bring this up, and they bring it up all the time now because of all the advanced stats that people look at. You don't have to get the guy on the ground. You just have to alter. You want to move him off his spot. You got to make him uncomfortable. You need to make him throw from tighter windows and areas of the field he doesn't want to throw.
Yeah, you just can't have. It's okay to not have huge sack numbers. It's just not okay to have what we saw in 2019 or 2020. I think 2020. I think they had 10 sacks and never got pressure. So that's a little different. I mean,
it was a bad combo
all day. Yeah. It was frustrating.
It was.
I think they're better at linebacker, Ira. I know you were waiting on me to say it. I think they're better. Tatum Bethune looks like the real deal, and then that sets up a trickle-down effect like we were talking about with receivers and the problem with losing Winston Wright. Like, you like the trickle-down effect. If your one becomes your two, in a proper way, Deloach becomes that guy now. That's good. Lundy goes down to 2 or 3. Amari Gaynor, those. Okay, good. I like that. Bethune being the real deal and being instinctive is important.
Man, I'd love to see something happen with Steven Dix, speaking of the linebackers, just because, FSU put out the video from the new locker rooms over the weekend and a bunch of the social media posts. And like in a couple of them, you saw the social media posts that the players took. Like Steven Dix sitting in his locker, man, that kid is so happy. And you see the practice. He's such a, for a guy that started as a true freshman, barely played as a sophomore or a redshirt freshman, whatever they call him because of COVID. And then he's still here in year 3, just like with the best attitude. It would be awesome to see him take a step and become a contributor.
But as what?
Well,
no, I mean,
just in
middle
life,
linebacker.
Corey, why you got to be such a hater, man?
Oh, in life, yeah.
No,
Well,
it's a linebacker, man. It would be
I
cool.
know,
I mean,
but
we're judging him based on what he did as a true freshman. And
I'm
then last
judging
year
him
he
for
didn't play. I'm just saying there's a possibility he could turn into a player. And it would be cool because it's pretty rare to have that attitude when you've gone through what he's gone through.
he seems like an awesome kid. He seems like a good teammate.
We can carry this over to the next hour some. I don't judge him based on him having to play too soon. I judge him for a different reason in terms of his playing ability. But I share your sentiment. I want something good to happen for him. Right. Some capacity on this team they could utilize that body type, right? Like just be a battering ram on special teams or something. I mean, I need him to be an integral player just because we love kids who work hard and stick with it. And even if they don't have success, they still have great attitudes every day they show up to practice. Yeah, that's important. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Headliner questions. Stay with us. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. Facing senators' questions for the first time, Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson defending her record as a federal judge. She tells lawmakers she will rule from a position of neutrality if confirmed. Exhausted survivors still looking for hope in Ukraine.
One woman, Julia Kreitska, who made it out of the blasted city with her husband and son, has told the AP in one compartment there were 10 or 11 people, with others in the corridor. But when you're going to safety, it doesn't matter. Her hands shaking as she spoke. The group, she says, had been lucky to get out after volunteers had found them in the besieged city. Kreitska adds, there's no connection with the world there. We couldn't ask for help. The people of Mariupol don't have a chance to be heard. They don't even have water there. She wasn't aware of cases of people being taken into Russia from the city. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Also at townhall.com, another loss for Vice President Kamala Harris.
It's the 6th time since June a staffer's leaving and the 10th since Harris took office. Vice Presidential National Security Advisor Nancy McEldowney says she wants to spend time focusing on personal issues. Her announcement comes days after Harris returned from an overseas trip to Poland and Bulgaria, which has been widely criticized, and amid falling poll numbers. McEldowney joins a list that includes Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh, who last week left to take a position at the Defense Department. Rhonda Rockster reporting.
Dozens of twisters ripping through parts of Texas and Oklahoma. At least one person has been killed, several hurt. And along with the severe weather, some much-needed rain in Texas. But officials say several counties have wildfires still burning, but the biggest blaze is now 70% contained. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hi, I'm cute kid number 1. And I'm cute kid number 2. And we have been forced, you mean hired? We have been hired to tell you what direct lender FOMO is. So let's say you buy a new home and maybe you use one of those big mortgage monsters. Or someone your realtor or friend recommends. And then a few months later, you hear us being forced, hired to tell you about our mortgage team's direct lender advantage. And then you feel like you missed out because you probably did miss out. And that is direct lender FOMO.
It's Ryan, and our mortgage team is an arm of a bigger company who is a direct lender, which means our company gets to use its own money and make its own decisions within its own walls. There's no middleman. This often allows us to get you a better rate on that new home mortgage, saving you monthly and lifelong money. We are United Faith Mortgage.
United Faith Mortgage is a DBA of United Mortgage Corp. 25 Melville Park Road, Melville, New York. Licensed mortgage banker. For all licensing information, go to NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Corporate NMLS number 1335. Bracket NMLS number 65233. Equal housing lender. Licensed in Alaska, Hawaii, Georgia, Massachusetts, North Dakota, South Dakota, or Utah.
Every great construction project, whether it's a new addition or renovation, starts with a plan. At T-Spark, we are excited when our clients contact us to assist with that plan. Through our team of architects, draftsmen, engineers, we can help you with your project's planning and design, potentially saving costs in the long run. Whether you have a residential or commercial project, we look forward to working with you. Call us today or visit us at tsparkconstruction.com. License number CGC 1525336.
Live and living color and totally free. Subscribe to Warchant TV on YouTube, the digital home of Warchant.com. From the practice field to pregame and the phone calls afterwards, Warchant's YouTube channel is home to live programming like Seminole Headlines, Wake Up Warchant, The Jeff Cameron Show, as well as Trench Talk, a live Q&A with Noles offensive lineman Devontae Love-Taylor. Just search Warchant on YouTube and click or tap the subscribe button. That's it. It's totally free. Warchant TV on YouTube. Just another reason we're the ultimate Seminole sports source.
To Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Real quick at the outset here before we give some love to Dr. Birch Orthodontics for her support for Headlines. We should first mention this is previously recorded. So if you're in the chat, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate you. If you're listening, thanks for listening. We cannot respond directly to any questions you may have had in that chat because we had to record this just before we would have been coming on the air. Corey's got a doctor's appointment. It's his fault. We've noted that in the recording. You can see it. You'll see where Corey once again scheduled a doctor's appointment at the exact time that we were
except for some reason. Except for some reason, hour 2, we took off. It's Corey's fault from the scroll there.
Yeah, it's definitely my fault, Tom. You can throw that back up there on the scroll. And we're not, again, we're 2 hours early. We're not a day early or two. So This is still lively. This is still timely, folks. This is still timely.
Very much so, yeah. And all of last hour was pretty much celebrating the return of Florida State's football practices so that we have some context and content for you over at warchant.com. You're going to want to go there, as always, and check out the stories, the videos, and all the insights from practice this week as they get back after it today and again on Thursday ahead of Saturday's scrimmage. This hour brought to you by Birch Orthodontics. Yes, the good news happened, boys. Just before I left for the spring break vacation, Bryce was told that he gets his braces off in April.
Whoa.
So, there we go. Yes, the celebration is on. And just in time for me to put my youngest in braces, Bryce comes out of braces. So, I'm not.
Did he wear braces? Can Clark just wear braces? Is that how braces work?
Yeah. Here, pass them off. So Dr. Birch told me, yep, we're moving on to the retainer phase. She knows I think that's a conspiracy. She told me I'm wrong. She says I'm wrong. I sound like these idiots online who think they're doctors. But I said, okay, well, that's fine. I have my beliefs. And I walked out of the office.
I have my beliefs, which are based on absolutely nothing.
Absolutely. Apparently, that's all you need to have. Hell, you can be president.
I think retainers. I think retainers are. I agree with you, Jeff. What are we doing here? It's just
another known medical expert.
There's no way those things work.
Some people are anti-maskers. Ira, Corey, and I are anti-retainers. We don't believe them,
but we always have been.
Yeah, always.
This isn't a new stance.
Yeah.
Well, the 3 Schofield kids who went through braces at Dr. Birch and Birch Orthodontics are still compliant, Dr. Birch. They're still wearing the braces, their retainers at night. And you know what? Their teeth are still straight, still have beautiful smiles.
Now, listen, you got to understand. I'm a true American. And whether I believe in it or not, I'll go along with what is being passed on by the medical community. I trust in science. I believe in science. I believe in the medical community. So I've decided that regardless if I think it's a racket, I will have Bryce wear a retainer as instructed by Dr. Birch. I'll sell out like that. That's what I'll do.
Good job, Jeff. We appreciate that sacrifice for you, buddy.
The website is birchorthodontics.com. They'll set up free consultations for you if you have any orthodontic needs or your kids might need braces or Invisalign. They've got all the latest technology, great customer service, payment plans to make it affordable when you've got 2 kids.
That's right.
In braces like Jeff, and they'll be happy. You'll be happy to see them.
Scott writes, is the Freddie Freeman / Braves breakup similar to FSU and Jimbo? Both wanted more than their previous organization, but both were told to have a good day to their surprise. Corey?
No, I don't think so. I think, I guess, I don't know. It seemed like Freddie just wanted to leave. And Jimbo definitely wanted to
money
leave.
Is what he wanted. He got
but the Braves were close enough. The dude, if he would have signed the contract the Braves offered him, would have made $300 million playing baseball for the Atlanta Braves. That's pretty good.
Did he think he was going to get more out on the market?
Yeah, he just wanted the 6th year. That's all he cared about. That stupid 6th year was like the Braves offered 5 years the whole time. He's like, no, I want 6 years, and that was the sticking point. It's like, dude, if you want to be a Brave, that 6th year won't be that big a deal. You'll be 37, and if you're awesome at 37, I promise you they'll re-up and get you a couple-year deal for $40 more million or whatever. But no, he wanted to go. Look, I hope there's not a massive earthquake while he's out there. I'm not rooting for that. Obviously, there's a lot of people, a lot of Americans out in California. But, and I don't want a forest fire to affect his home either. I'm not rooting against Freddie Freeman like that, so don't get it twisted. That's the end of
why would they? Why would they? But,
I don't know why anybody would assume as much, right?
Not that anybody cares about Atlanta's hierarchy of baseball pantheon of greatness, but now it's Chipper and Hank, and Freddie's not in the conversation anymore, right?
Well, he still got the championship. He was still the best player on the championship team, but
he didn't
win the MVP. Yeah, no, it rubbed people the wrong way. And the kid that they got, he's 28, to replace him.
Olsen?
He's good, number one, and he signed his extension in like 9 seconds. He's like, yeah, sure. He was on the plane coming to Atlanta, and he's like, oh, yeah, I'll sign for 8 years.
Yeah.
He didn't care, so whatever.
Yeah, no, and listen, it's hard to disparage Freddie Freeman. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's a good guy that just wanted the best deal he could get, and he got it from the Dodgers. Now, it's not hard to disparage the Dodgers.
Yes.
And we should around every turn, every chance we get. You have to hope, I do anyhow, for significant amounts of injuries on that roster. You have to hope that 6 or 7 of the guys in that starting lineup go down to injury for the season. Let's just say it for what it is. We don't have to sugarcoat it. We don't have to pretend like we care about their futures. F the Dodgers,
right?
And that ridiculous lineup they have from 1 through 9. It's absurd. Now that they have a DH and Pollock is their DH, I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and Mookie Betts seems like a great dude too. Mookie Betts genuinely seems like a great dude.
Yeah.
But if he shatters his knee,
it happens.
Again,
Corey.
it happens.
It happens.
If he falls into a crevice after that big earthquake.
If
I don't want him to die. I don't want Mookie Betts to die.
I don't want anybody to die. Yeah, hashtag we hope you're okay. Well done. Yeah, no. Listen, I don't want any long-term damage done, just enough for you to miss a season of baseball, maybe 3 seasons.
3 seasons would be great.
Listen, if Trey Turner goes down, if all of a sudden, I don't know, you name
Justin
any
Turner,
one of the
Turner they have.
Yeah, any of the Turners, any one of the all-star guys in the lineup, the entirety of the lineup, it's ridiculous. It reminds me of the Yankees back in the day. I loathe that situation. Moving on. People aren't tuning into the show to hear us rip the Dodgers. Gents, who will have a bigger impact on this defense? Staff Noel wants to know. Any true freshman or Leonard Warner?
I mean, Leonard Warner, I think, will play. I think
of course.
He's going to play at defensive end. He's not going to start. Maybe he's a guy that plays 20, 30 snaps here or there. Is there going to be a freshman that definitely plays more than
Thomas?
That?
Thomas will play.
Thomas, if he can sneak in, but there's a lot of competition in there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be by the end of the year. And Azario Thomas looks great. I mean, he
looks awesome.
Really good camp. Really, I mean, impressive kid. Not just, I mean, yes, clearly the athletic ability and the way he plays, but not just that. He also comes across as super sharp, super. His older brothers play college football. He's very mature. So all those things portend really good things. You just don't know how much a guy's going to start. And that secondary is a true freshman. We'll see.
Walter writes, since the 15 seed will never see the Final Four and the play-in games were for 11 seeds, why don't they have a tournament for the top 64 teams in the nation, as opposed to the top 48 teams and 16 programs that don't have a chance? Those 16 teams could be part of a really competitive NIT and not be a pain in the butt to good teams. Meanwhile, 16 other teams who may play in a tough conference or had 5 or 6 critical injuries could be in the dance.
Oh yeah, that's what they do. Yeah. No, man, I think the novelty of March Madness and the beauty of it is St. Peter's beating Kentucky.
Right.
That's what everybody. That's the memorable thing from the weekend. That and the almost North Carolina. By the way, roll it out there, Hubert. You get a 25-point lead and you cannot inbound the ball. Roy Williams' teams never went through that, gang.
Hey,
they
Corey,
could inbound the ball.
Corey, who beat the 1 seed there? Who won that game?
Just saying, that was nuts.
Yeah,
that was a really fun game to watch, though. And I almost won money on that. I had them in a parlay on a money line with North Carolina, but my other part didn't hit. But still, that was insanity.
I was actually in my car. Well, no, actually, that was I was in my car when they were, I guess Baylor. Yeah. So I was in my car because we were down in Tampa. We were on Dale Mabry. We stayed at a hotel on Dale Mabry.
Oh my gosh. And you lived to tell about it.
We did. It wasn't
sweet Dale Mabry, baby.
And but yeah, Molly and I were down there. She's looking at grad school at USF, so we were down there for the weekend. But we were in the car driving around St. Petersburg and flipping through channels when I got that game, and it was I think it was like they had just cut it to 9. Baylor just cut it to 9, then they cut it to 6, but then Carolina pushed it back to 9. Then Baylor gets a 3-point play to cut to 6, and the radio guy on Westwood One lost his mind. Like he thought he was calling the greatest comeback. I mean, he kept saying this is the greatest comeback in college basketball history. But he goes, the champs are here. The champs are finally here. And it's like, yo, man, it's a great comeback.
Yeah.
They haven't won it yet.
Yeah.
But that was wild. I listened to it. I listened to it in the car and overtime and everything. So it was a crazy game.
Hey, so by the way, can we all celebrate that the sorry-ass SEC, the much overhyped Big Ten, just took drubbings in this tournament. Meanwhile, the besmirched around every turn ACC is 8-2 and telling everybody to suck it. Yeah, it's hilarious. But, man, those preseason narratives are strong, guys.
Well, they were in the preseason, like the early games, too, the non-conference stuff.
Right.
You know, Miami wasn't good in the non-conference. And now they're good. And they have 3 24-year-olds. And Auburn doesn't. And Miami Miami controlled that game. That was
yeah. You know who swept Miami, guys?
Yeah, I remember the Noles.
Yeah,
Anthony Polite did. Matthew Cleveland did.
Back to kind of touching back on that, bringing it full circle to the question. You know, Leonard Hamilton has long advocated 96 teams.
He wants everybody.
He wants everybody to play in the tournament. Basically, for a season like this, though, where Florida State, you know, with the theory being, if you got those guys back, maybe you could make a run. I don't think it would happen with this team. I think there were some other issues.
Why do you say that, Ira? Is it just the Syracuse game? Is that why you think they couldn't have made a run?
I was going to point to the Boston College game or the Pitt game, Corey, but if you want to point to the Syracuse game.
I think their lone postseason game was a pretty good indicator. They were not going to make a run this year.
In a year where, like, the Tony Douglas broken hand.
Yeah.
You know, there are times where you could say, man, it would be cool if a few more of these teams who maybe had something go wrong could get in the field. But, yeah, man, we love the automatic bids, too. I mean, those teams are fun.
Sir Stuart Wallace writes, so was there a locker in the new digs with a number 3 on it or nah? Also, has Norvell addressed the Winston Wright prognosis as of yet?
So, yeah, man, I did my Zapruder film watching of all the social media videos out there and never came across anybody showing a Jarvis Brownlee locker in the locker room, but it's probably there. It's not like everyone got seen. It's just the ones here or there. But we'll probably, we'll find out today. I mean, there were questions last week before spring break about whether or not Jarvis Brownlee was going to be back in practice this week. We'll see if he is today. Tune into warchant.com around 6:30 today for an update on whether or not he's back. And, Winston Wright, I mean, I think best case is you're hoping he can play in the fall, but we don't know yet.
Another number 3. Winston Wright's number 3 as well. It's a tough number
this year. Yeah.
Hey, you know what we should do besides just answer these questions, which is the right thing to do because it's the headliner questions segments. We should at least acknowledge all 3 of us, of course, and we have in our own ways separately as employees of Warchant. Gene Deckerhoff's retirement coupled with Sue Simmerau's retirement. We have not addressed that. We'll do it next. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
And biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love. And you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
This is Andy Cohen. When I was a law enforcement officer, I devoted my life to a career of service and protection. Who's protecting you? Give me a call. 850-671-FARM. That's 671-FARM. Helping you is what we do best.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states.
Another check from Northern Florida?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And may I ask why we get it?
It's from one of our businesses in the States. pest control company.
Oh, and what do we know about pests in northern Florida?
Absolutely nothing.
Did you know that most pest and termite companies that serve Tallahassee are actually owned and operated by people that don't even live in our area? One owner is actually in Great Britain.
Paul's Termite and Pest Control was founded in North Florida, operates in North Florida, and services North Florida.
All of Paul's decisions and treatments, plus prevention methods, are centered around the unique needs of our wonderful part of the world.
Being local really does matter in our industry.
Don't trust the health of your family to companies that aren't even on our continent.
Protect your biggest investment from termites and your family and pets from pests with a company with the local advantage, Paul's Termite and Pest Control.
And remember, Paul's keeps North Florida lawns green too. For the elimination of termites and other pests,
And a greener lawn too.
call Paul's.
We'll get them all.
We use a fly swatter?
I believe we do.
This is an important message regarding your backyard grilling capabilities. Upgrade your outdoor grill, indoor and outdoor fireplaces, wood stoves, or create a custom outdoor kitchen. The team at Hearth and Patio can do it all. If you haven't seen all of the amazing things you can do with a custom outdoor kitchen from Hearth and Patio, take a minute and visit their website, hearthpatiotallahassee.com. That's hearthpatiotallahassee.com. Call Hearth and Patio today at 727-4282. That's 727-4282. If you're paying any attention to the news at all, you should be concerned about where the stock market is heading. And what does that mean for your retirement? Jamie McClenny at BCJ Financial can help. Jamie knows how to navigate through these ups and these downs, making sure that your nest egg is protected. Look, I don't know investments, but I know Jamie McClenny, and I trust him. Get a clear picture of what your retirement really looks like. There's no obligation at all. Call 900-5200 and ask for Jamie McClenny. That's 900-5200. Let's go ahead and write that down. 900-5200. Or if you're near a computer, just go to bcjwealthmanagement.com. Again, that's bcjwealthmanagement.com and take the free online risk assessment. Protect your retirement with tactical asset management from Jamie McClenny. Investment advisory services are offered through BCJ Financial, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Seminole.
Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV, and back to headliner questions. And I mentioned, I teased it before the break that we were certainly going to acknowledge the retirements of Gene Deckerhoff and Coach Sue Seminole. She steps down, and of course, Gene, the legendary voice of Florida State athletics, steps down. That seemed very sudden. I think all of us were kind of alarmed by that. I like to know that yesterday, Tom told me that he spoke with a couple people and that they said, listen, it was time for him to go. He said he was just ready to leave, because I think everybody kind of privately wonders when somebody suddenly retires a gig that they have that they could have for probably life. Are there other concerns? Is something else going on? Not that we know of. We're not hearing that at all. He just said basically that it was time for him to retire. Now he's going to finish out the year with the Bucs. He's still under contract with Tampa Bay. So good thing for him that Tom Brady came back and Jensen came back and they signed Gage away from Atlanta. So we get to keep kicking your Falcons ass up and down, and Gene gets to call it, Corey.
I don't know. Good. I don't know that has Tom Brady ever played Marcus Mariota, because it's coming this year, buddy. We'll see who wins that battle.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all marveled at Gene Deckerhoff's schedule for the last 30 years, whatever. The fact that he would do what he did. I mean, there were games where there were games a couple of years ago where like he called a FSU game for the first quarter or two.
Like a half and jetted.
Flew to Europe. Like they put out a private plane
in London.
Yeah, I mean, his schedule's been insane. I get tired when I drive to like Quincy. Like, I can't imagine.
And he's quite a bit older than you. So yes.
And he's been doing this. So I think everybody assumed when he finally stepped down, it would be for both at the same time. So that's why it's kind of a little bit odd. But yeah, he's going to keep doing the Bucs at least for this year. And we wish him nothing but the best. He's always been great to all of us, for sure.
All of us have noted that he has been great to all of us. And of course, there's the tug at the heartstrings for anybody that grew up as a Nole. I mean, if you were a kid listening to those games on radio, Saturday nights at Doak, when Gene starts to take over, Vic Prinzi and all that, you remember these days. And I remember it very, very well. And then it just, you kind of take it for granted. I think Gene is the last of a dying breed in the sense that he is an old school announcer. He is very much the prototype of the way announcers were supposed to sound and how you did things in the booth. And there's good to bad to both of those things. I don't mind the more modern efforts as a broadcaster. At the same time, I kind of long for those traditionalists who are like Gene, with the voice and the cadence and the things that he does. But yeah, there's no getting around it. We salute you, Gene Deckerhoff, all-time great guy. And I remember I got giddy when I told the story yesterday on the air. I got into the industry, broke into this business in 1998, 97, 98. And I used to do mornings at 6 a.m. and I'd have to be there show prepping at 4 a.m. And Gene would drop off these mini recorders, CDs, and then later on DAT tapes at the side door because he did a lot of the voicing for the station I worked for. He also did ads and he did all these coaches shows. And so we would have to put those in the system. And I got to meet him. I'd have to be the guy to open the door for him at 5 o'clock. And he would drop off these things himself, hand deliver these things at 5 a.m, Corey. How about that dedication? And,
ridiculous.
And he's a legend. And he would drive himself over to drop off these DAT tapes to a punk like me who's on the air, ripping a guy that he's loved and worked for forever or with forever, and he was always super cool. He'd be like, how you doing? I listened to the show yesterday. Good job. He was always great.
Well, good for him, and good for us. We got him for that long.
I was leaving it because I thought Corey might want to chime in with some of his memories growing up as a Florida State fan.
Yeah, well, good for him.
It's fine.
Since he didn't, I'm going to jump in with one real quick. Jake File, longtime athletic trainer at FSU, who's now with the Falcons. Corey's beloved Falcons.
He gets to watch a lot of losing these days.
Yeah, he sure does.
He posted a great post on Facebook about it. He said that growing up, an FSU fan over in Madison County. Grew up living by Gene Deckerhoff's calls to those games. And he said that when he became the athletic trainer at FSU and Gene would come out to practice, Gene would ask him hey, how's so-and-so look and things like that. And, Jake was just saying how he felt like he was giving information to Gene so that Gene could paint the pictures for kids just like him, 20 years. I mean, that was a really clean message. And that just speaks to his longevity and kind of the impact he's had on so many fans.
Well, and I really liked the thing that I remember him the most from my childhood is the Bobby Bowden show. Like he just, you know what I mean? Because Sunday mornings I was appointment viewing for a kid up in Atlanta. One to watch the highlights, but then Gene being Gene, just a genuine awesome dude.
Then can we talk about Seminole real quick?
Hold on, while we're we'll get to Sue. Don't worry, but I do want to at least first address this because a couple guys. Headliner questions both on Facebook and Twitter. Nate wanted to know which job's going to be harder to follow up. This is kind of a tip of the cap to Gene. He wrote Gene Deckerhoff, Nick Saban, or Coach K.
Tough.
Robert writes, who takes over for the GOAT? Gene, love the show. I think the three of us believe this would be Tom Block, right? I would think it would be Tom Block.
Are you going to throw your hat into the ring?
So somebody was nice enough to do that on the message boards on Warchant, and a few people did it on Twitter or whatever, and my name got mentioned. I think Tom Block's the guy. I have no illusions or delusions about that.
But you and William Floyd back together again?
So that did make me smile, and I did pause that if that happened, if for some reason I was in that booth and worked alongside my dear friend and ex-teammate, William Floyd, it would be surreal because I will just allow myself to think about it for half a second. Working with him, that is.
Yeah. There's
William
zero chance. But look, and I'm not saying that this isn't a challenge. Don't take this as a challenge.
No.
To go from Gene Deckerhoff getting really excited when both teams do well.
Yeah.
So what would come out of your mouth the first time Tate Rodemaker throws a pick six? I don't think Learfield's interested in it, man.
I actually think I could wear a hat in which I walked into that booth understanding who I worked for. But that said, I am passionate about my Noles, but and I certainly wouldn't cheer for the other team. I just think about how weird it would be if I was working with William for 2 seconds, because the first time I ever hit William or William hit me or we tackled one another on the same team, we were 11 or 12 years old. Like, how weird would that be to fast forward to us in our 50s in a booth together at FSU? It'd be
I'll
crazy.
tell you what, Tom Block isn't liking this segment at all. He's like, enough, Jeff. Don't even entertain it.
By the way, I want Tom to get it, and I think he's the most deserving.
Yeah,
I think for years, I think everybody around the program has assumed Tom Block would be the guy. It'll be interesting though for him personally, because not to get into his family, but he's married with kids now that are the age where they have activities and stuff. I don't know whether or not. I mean, he'd have to decide whether or not that's what he wants to do with his football and basketball too. I mean, that's a crazy schedule with a ton of travel. I wonder if there's a possibility to split them up.
I would think they would want to. I would think they'd want to split it up some. But I don't know. And by the way, I really want to make this clear too. It's not just that I think that Tom Block should get it because everybody assumes he's the next guy in line. I think he should get it because he's good.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying, but that's why everybody's assumed it. It's because
I think he's talented. I think he's a very talented broadcaster, and I think he would do a very, very good job. Listen, he would be the first to tell you, I do believe, that nobody's going to replace Gene Deckerhoff. That guy's an institution. I mean, that guy is Florida State athletics in the sense of when you think of calls, you think of one voice only. You don't think of anybody who's done it before or who's filled in or anything. Yeah. You think of Gene Deckerhoff. And so that will be hard. I don't envy that, but I do think Tom is equipped to do so, and I think he's talented, and I think he'll probably get the gig if he wants it.
It would be wild too if he was calling the LSU game, because his wife's their family's from Louisiana. Yeah. They've got a lot of ties there, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Dean writes, gentlemen,
wait. Sue Seminoles. Can we talk about Sue Seminoles real quick?
Okay.
Then we'll get back to the questions.
Yeah,
it is amazing, man, that Florida State has had these coaches
forever,
who have been here for so long. And Sue Seminoles was 24 seasons. She got here in 1997. And just personally watching that program, women's basketball at a lot of schools it's not even known. Like, people don't even go to the games or think about the program because women's basketball doesn't have that high of a profile, and a lot of teams really stink. There's like 6 or 7 teams in women's basketball that are good, and then everybody else is not good. But she broke into that layer. Like, they were going to Elite Eights. She got into that. She took Florida State from nothing, from the bare bottom to one of the top programs in the country. And it's a great accomplishment. Another person who was always great to deal with, always great to us, always great to my kids. My daughters would go to their games. She just was always awesome. So I definitely personally wanted to give Sue Seminoles a shout out. And I know you guys appreciate her as well.
Well, good for her.
So Corey brings to the show.
I'm glad he stayed in character. I'll give you a quick side note here. People might be surprised to hear this, given that my take on women's basketball over the years is that it's unwatchable. I will say that Sue always laughed along with me. I've interviewed her countless times. But what I'm going to add to this is that my old roommate used to be the play-by-play announcer for the Florida State women's basketball team.
Todd Van Dyke. Right?
Todd Van Dyke, dear friend of mine to this day. We lived together, and he became, obviously entrenched in that program during their building block, during that time where she was transforming the program. I first began to broadcast here locally in 98, end of 97, 98. And I lived with Todd, and I got to know those players. I became friends with Caitlin Vujis and other players that have come through this program. And yet they all knew that I couldn't stand watching women's basketball. And yet every time I talked to her or had her on, she was nothing but good to me. And she had every reason to tell me to go pound sand. And she never did. And we would talk about the lack of competitive balance in women's basketball. Ira, you just alluded to it. That's the problem with women's basketball. There's like 6 programs that can play and everybody else sucks. And even teams that are seated really high get beat by like 50 by the other team that's seated really high. So that's changed a lot. The game has come a long way. The overall athleticism has come a long way. Shot making's come a long way. It's a better sport now by far. And she's one of the reasons why. The ability to recruit and elevate the level of play. She did that for FSU, in addition to being an awesome woman. Congratulations, Sue, on a great career.
I like how Jeff has to 2 people retire, and Jeff has to talk about how both of them should probably have hated his guts, but they were nice people.
So hold on, I never said Gene should hate my guts just because.
Yeah, but you were ripping critical. You were critical about and ripping the guy that was one of his probably really good friends.
Right.
And then Sue telling her that her her sport was unwatchable. But they're very nice, gracious people, which is nice. It's what we learned.
It's not about me, and I don't want to make it about me. I'm giving you my personal interaction with these.
But it always started with I ripped on him, I ripped on her, and she was
that
nice.
Story started with Gene getting up at 5 a.m., which you would never do to drop off a dad.
But he never held it against you.
Famous.
He never held it against you when you were ripping Bowden.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. He did. And I still don't watch women's basketball. So there you go. There you go.
We don't think Tom Block's a candidate for that job, but maybe Brooke Wyckoff, who filled in last year, maybe she'd be a good candidate for that job. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I would assume so. She seems a logical transition. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV continues in a moment.
News now.
Keeping beach access open 24 hours, that's what Wakulla County commissioners will soon decide on. The proposal would impact Shell Point Beach, Woolley Park, and Mashes Sands. Right now, public beach access is from sunup to sunset. The first vote on this proposal will be today at the Wakulla County Commission meeting at the courthouse. If approved, it will then move to a public hearing at a later meeting. Calhoun County Sheriff's Office arrested Joshua Savell for having meth during a traffic stop at the intersection of State Road 20 and County Road 287 for speeding yesterday. During the stop, the deputy conducted an air sniff of the exterior of the car by his canine, and the canine did alert to the smell of narcotics within the car. During the search of the car, the deputy found 2.5 grams of meth and a homemade pipe and 2 digital scales. Savell was arrested for the possession of meth and possession of drug paraphernalia. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MaclemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with a high of 79. Winds out of the south, 10 to 20 miles per hour. Overcast tonight, chance for scattered thunderstorms, lows around 68. Scattered thunderstorms again tomorrow. Highs level off around 73, cloudy. Upper 60s Thursday and Friday with a chance for scattered storms Thursday. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 77.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Life is stressful. Dinner shouldn't be. That motto is why Register Sausage has been doing business in the Florida Panhandle and Lower Alabama for over 75 years. A proud sponsor of Seminole Headlines, Register Sausage always provides the best Southern smoked sausage to over 140 grocery stores and restaurants throughout the Southeast. Headliners have discovered the Register's difference. You can too. To find a store that carries Registers near you or to buy directly, head to registermeats.com. That's registermeats.com. Register Sausage. Yay, sausage!
Here's what you missed on the Greg Tish Show.
A woman only identified as Mrs. Wong posted on Chinese social media she had gotten locked down after a first blind date. She discovered that their date's community had gone into swift lockdown after visiting his house for a meal.
This absolutely has to become a romantic comedy. Lockdown Love. He was looking for Mrs. Right, but he found Mrs. Wong.
Lockdown. Starring Matthew McConaughey. All right.
The Greg Tish Show, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m., only on Real Talk 93.3.
Headliner questions. Let's get to. We've got. By the way, there was a guy on Facebook's questions that mentioned it's a little late, Charlie. I'm no longer in Montana nor Idaho, but he was offering up river rafting trip for me and my family because his
Oh.
family owns a place in Idaho where I could have done that.
Nice.
Charlie, thanks. A week late, but yeah, I like where your heart's at.
Good job, Charlie. Next time he's out there.
Yeah, next time we'll do it. All right. So, hey, boys. Hope everyone had a great time with their families. With the news of the great Gene Deckerhoff calling it a career, what's your favorite all-time call from Gene? So I wanted to address that because I wanted to circle back. That's a Twitter question. The others were Facebook questions. Yeah, his is, by the way, he says his is Ward to Dunn.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It's an all-time great one. And I was there live in the stands when that happened, so I had to go back and listen to it, and I've probably listened to it 100 times since. It's incredible.
Yeah, he's great. He also nailed the snare one against Duke. Like he said, just bizarrely, he said the little team that could just did. Like he goes crazy. It's like, where did that come from? Was he holding on to that? Like you know how Jim Nance will be like,
oh yeah, he can't.
The
wait.
Liberty Bell rings as Villanova, whatever the nonsense he throws out there. But I think that was like in the moment off the cuff, which was really good. So that one, and then the punt Ruski, man, the dude Musburger thought the ball had sailed into the end zone on the snap. He's calling it, oh, it's a bad snap. And Deckerhoff knew immediately it had been snapped to Dane Williams, who gave it to Leroy Butler. He did a good job with that one.
Probably had a heads up on that, didn't he?
He might have, yeah. That's a good point.
The way things were back then, man. Like Coach Bowden probably would have told people at a press conference.
Yeah,
the day before.
We got a cool fake punt. We might run.
Where do you
week.
see this thing we're going to run tomorrow? Yeah. No, I any of those are great, and he's had countless calls that we can all obviously relish. The closer we get to the spring game, the more I think about the Noles in New Orleans against LSU, and obviously the question on everybody's mind: how many hurricanes will it take for Corey to join a street band in a stirring rendition of When the Saints Go Marching In?
One? I think I'd do it without one.
Yeah, I think I'd put it at 3. The first time I went to New Orleans,
I'm not drinking 3 hurricanes.
First time I went to New Orleans, I was in college, and we had been walking all day, and it was so hot. And again, it was August or so. It was like September or something. Finally get to Pat O'Brien's. We've been walking around sightseeing. We get to Pat O'Brien's. I'm so thirsty. I was on my 4th hurricane when I just started puking everywhere.
Good. Nice.
I mean, it was projectile. It was unbelievable. So,
I love that you thought a hurricane would be a
refreshing,
just a refreshing, quenching.
Get those electrolytes back up in you.
It's like Gatorade. Ooh. It was
these things are great.
I literally had no idea that I grew up in Miami. I didn't know anything about Pat O'Brien's. I didn't really know. I had never been to New Orleans, and so I thought maybe they had a shot in each one. I didn't realize there's like 5 or 6 shots in each one.
No,
it was a disaster. And then that was the first of many disasters at Pat O'Brien's. So I'm thinking 3 would get you going, Corey.
Yeah, I'm not doing it though. I'm too grown up for that now. That story didn't sell it either. But, maybe I should drink some hurricanes.
I met my father at Pat O'Brien's, Corey. And
he's got to bring up his dad.
I thought you would have met him way before that.
No, met him there for the first time. No, met him actually my first time in New Orleans. He had, being a worldly cat that he is, been to New Orleans numerous times.
Sure.
I went to see Florida State in the Sugar Bowl, and he said, hey, you're going to have a good time in New Orleans, son. I can't wait till you get here. He had been there the day before. I met him on Bourbon Street. We walked in. I had my first ever drink in New Orleans at Pat O'Brien's with
your old man. There you go. That's nice. And Stephanie hung out with your old man this week at the baseball game.
Yeah, he went to the baseball game.
Whose dad is also dead. Said she got some sweet dad hugs from your dad at the baseball game.
I like that there's at the very least a threesome, a triumvirate of, if you will, of people that I love in my life that get to share my father, that get to have a moment with my dad, and they can pass him around like, hey, Dad. And this weekend it was Stephanie's turn because obviously my dad came into town to watch the dogs here while we were off vacationing, and he had texted me, hey, I think I want to go to one of the baseball games. He loves Florida State baseball. And I said, well, you should go to a Florida State baseball game. And then, of course, he said, did you leave your press pass laying around? And I said, Dad, stop being so damn cheap. Anyhow, he met Johnny Mack out there and Stephanie and the rest of the animals, and they had a few pops, and they ate some brats, and they went in and they watched baseball together.
Yeah, Stephanie's starting to sit with the animals when she goes, and I'm not there, and I'm not sure about that development. I don't know that It's just a different lifestyle. That's all. That's all I'm saying. But your dad was with the animals. He was wearing the duck around his waist.
He was cheering his head off and they won big. They won big in that game.
I cannot wait till the camera pans over and Corey's yelling, "K!"
Holding the flag.
That's going to be so great.
I love it. Corey, I also really quick before I get to the next question, I must tell you, I don't know why I took such great pleasure. Maybe it's just because I love you in knowing that you had to sit through that ridiculous ass day of baseball on Sunday, because with every passing strikeout, which segued into yet another inning of baseball that was virtually unwatchable from both teams.
How many combined strikeouts in that game?
54.
Oh my God.
54, an NCAA record. An NCAA record, gang. I got to see them all.
I was resting up, having just traversed the country to get back to Tallahassee, settled in and threw on the baseball game on my television, watched the end of that game, saw the Terrell game-tying home run, and both celebrated the home run, but then thought, oh, Corey is there covering this. He's got to be almost pissed that he hit that.
I was not happy. Oh, I was like, man, you struck out 5 times. You couldn't have made it 6.
Yeah.
Like, and that kept us there another hour.
Did you? Yeah. Did the umpire have a good punch out sign or anything? Like
they were almost all swinging, man. And by the end, his arm was he was loosening up his right arm. He couldn't call any more strikes.
Like Jordan Travis.
To what do we attribute, by the way, this absurdity? They struck out 1 million times last year. That's all well documented. They're trending in the wrong direction right now towards that direction in terms of contact. But these guys started
by 8. The previous school record was 20 strikeouts in a game. I know it was extra innings, but they struck out 28 times.
Corey, 20, my question.
20 is absurd. and they struck out 28 times.
And the 2 guys that hit the home runs both struck out 5 times. And then the guy hit the walk-off, and then Terrell, who struck out 5 times, hit the game-tying home run and threw the bat at the dugout, which was nuts.
There's 2 things here. Let me address this specifically. If they weren't Noles, and Tom and I talked about this yesterday, they'd be an insufferable bunch of kids to watch play baseball because they're ridiculous. I mean, every hit is celebrated in a way like they just hit a World Series walk-off. It's absurd. They're obnoxious. Secondly, they don't pick up the baseball again this year. It's trending in the wrong direction again. They strike out constantly, but my question is this, and they do have good frontline pitching, obviously. They got to get this bullpen worked out. They have options.
They have great frontline pitching.
They have great, yeah. But here's what I want to ask you. When the strikeout train got rolling there, I mean, it really got rolling for a time.
It was bumpy,
there.
And then it was,
It was smooth. I was like, here comes another strikeout on 3 pitches. Here comes another one on 3 pitches. So when that thing really got taken off, did you notice that they would swing at balls if they rolled them up there? Like there were guys swinging at pitches that bounced 5 feet in front of the plate. I don't remember this being a thing. It's one thing to have an approach. This is absurd. What the hell? What did Meat say after the game about that absurdity?
He said, you see that win? Did you like that series win over the Wolfpack? Don't ask me about strikeouts. No, I asked him about the NC State brought in a reliever that had an ERA of 6.
And he dominated.
He struck out 12 in 5 innings.
Yes.
All with fastballs that were 92. Like, it wasn't like he was hitting 99.
What's going on? I'm asking questions.
I asked him. I literally did ask him. And Meat's like, he started talking about verticality of pitches. And, most pitches go down. And this guy's pitch was actually seemingly to rise and go sideways.
There's no such thing as a rise ball in baseball. It didn't happen. That's
he said it looked like it. It looked like an Invisa pitch. Like, they were confused by it. And they were swinging, and they just swung and missed. And it was the guy literally, it was just fastballs. They must have swung and missed at 40 fastballs. Like, just swing and miss at 40 fastballs down the middle. It was incredible. But you know what? FSU won. That's all that matters, man. Check the scoreboard. Check the standings. Noles are 4-2.
Well, good for them.
There it is. Thank you. Burke writes, have you seen to date any managerial decisions from Mike Martin Jr. that has made you say, that reminds me of Mike Martin Sr.? If so, in a good way or a bad way? Well, yes and no. There are some good ways. There are also some bad ways. Choosing to not bunt and when to bunt in those kinds of situations haven't always been, in my mind, ideal.
Sure. And he, maybe a pinch run for a kid when it's still the 6th inning and he's your best hitter. Maybe keep him in the game if you can. Some bullpen things would maybe keep him bringing in Scolaro but he doesn't know. Davis Hare's good, man. Davis Hare's the guy. He's going to be their closer, I think. But Scolaro has to be something, and he keeps,
Can he be the guy on the bench, Corey?
Maybe.
Can that kid be the kid that's on the bench? I like that role for him.
But the other guys have been so inconsistent or bad, and then Wyatt Crowell finally had a good outing, but Wyatt Crowell had been struggling all season. They don't have
I don't know how many times you need to watch Scolaro go out there and suck ass. How many
times? The best part, and I know y'all didn't, I didn't video record it because I was done. I didn't want to be there anymore. But at the press conference, Meat was talking about Scolaro. He's like, look, he wiped off Jimmy. We had a call. These guys work really hard to get in the analytics, and we know the call to make. And he wiped it off and gave up a game-tying home run. So basically, he's like, if Scolaro had thrown the pitch we wanted him to throw,
yeah, but he didn't.
We would have been done 3 hours ago.
The follow-up question should have been: does he wipe out all of the calls? Because he's forever giving up dongs and shots off the wall and repeated hits.
Hey,
is he just wiping everything off?
On another note, in all seriousness, best wishes to Carol Martin, the matriarch of the Martin family, who fell ill, I guess, during one of the games this weekend. And sounds like the test had some tests done. And we're hoping that everything comes out good there, because she also, we've talked about a lot of people who've been really nice over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Carol Martin's one of the sweetest people you've ever met. So
she is awesome. And I don't have any caveat to that, Corey. I don't have to tell you about the time that she forgave me for anything.
Yeah, when you were ripping her son and her husband.
Her husband? Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Her grandson.
She's awesome. I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
I sat out in the bleachers at the bar in Clearwater when the Noles took on the Phillies and met her and Meat's sister, and we all just hung around and had drinks and hung out.
Yeah,
and,
good people. She's a really
awesome
woman, nice woman.
Yeah, awesome. Hopefully everything's good there. Yeah.
Yes. Seminole Headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. We'll wrap it up in a moment. Stay with us.
Happy Hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Noles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
What's important when shopping at a gun store? Let's start with a friendly and knowledgeable staff. Then add top-notch service, great selection and pricing, and a personal shopping experience only found at a locally owned and operated business. At Red Hills Arms, they're right on target. While other gun stores come and go, Red Hills Arms remains Tallahassee's go-to local gun store for all your firearms needs. Stop by today and get welcomed in like family.
Howdy there, folks. Jeff Cameron here, inviting you to join me from 1 to 3 each and every weekday afternoon. We're live and local thanks to great sponsors like Hamilton Home Loans, a personalized mortgage loan experience built just for you and your needs. It's refreshingly simple at HamiltonHomeLoans.com. That's HamiltonHomeLoans.com.
Well. Hey, Jeff, look at this place.
Yeah. Well, doing well. It's been a while since I've seen you, brother, but, it hasn't been a while since I've been over to Gordo's. I go there on the regular because of you, Eddie.
Well, we keep you regular.
Well, that's true, but I think of Gordo's as a place to sit down, have a cold beer, talk to your friends, enjoy the sports, eat the delicious food. But I think of you as Uncle Eddie, a man who takes care of his people and takes care of the town.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Hey, and we'll keep you regular.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Whidden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Whidden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Whidden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Whidden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Whidden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
Siri, tell me a joke. The past, present, and future walk into a bar. It was tense.
All jokes aside, the trained professionals at Mac & More Systems are serious about Apple products. For all your Mac repairs, call Mac & More Systems at 894-3622. 894-3622.
Many orthodontists in Tallahassee can straighten a smile, but at Birch Orthodontics, they're dedicated to providing the finest care possible. The experienced and friendly staff is trained in all of the latest techniques. So whether you need standard treatment like braces or Invisalign, or you have a more complicated case requiring extra attention, Birch Orthodontics is here for you. Set up your free consultation today by visiting birchorthodontics.com, BURCH orthodontics.com, or call 850-877-1692. At Birch Orthodontics, they create beautiful smiles that last a lifetime.
Better it up, Seminole headlines, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV. Let's get to a few more of these, shall we? Chris writes, so the new locker rooms, I love the idea, and if the kids are excited, then really it doesn't matter what I think. But was I the only one that felt a little underwhelmed by this locker room? Very cramped, lack for storage space, personalization potential for the athletes. Is this just a stopgap before we do something good?
There's actually a conversation in that Twitter thread where a couple of people came back and offered some alternative viewpoints. There is storage space there. It's hard to see because everything's white. So in the videos we've seen are all been just these, helter-skelter, social media posts for the most part. But yeah, there is storage space there. As far as being cramped, man, they're a lot nicer than they've ever been. Yeah. They did redo the locker rooms 8 years ago. It's funny, you have the two polar opposites. You have some people who are like, these are amazing, or there are some people who are like, oh, these stink, and why do we even do it? We just did new lockers 8 years ago. The kids did like it. To me, the biggest takeaway to all that is the kids like them, and I'm sure the recruits like them, and I'm guessing they're the target audience more so than us or a lot of people our age.
Well, and he said that in the question, so that credit to him. Yeah. He admits that it doesn't really matter what he thinks as long as the kids like it. Yeah. Breezy B writes, can we just admit it's time to move on from Scolaro? I'd rather see anybody on this team pitch but that kid right now.
You guys.
Corey, you answer.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. So it's always the recency, but he was really good at Wake Forest. Got a couple big outs in the Sunday game when that was a one-run game because the offense stopped doing anything. And he's had some nice moments this year, and he's been really good earlier in his career. That's why they want him to that's why they keep running him out there, because they need to figure him out, because he can be something. He has been something. But yeah, he keeps giving up dongs. We got to stop with the dongs, Jonah. I don't know what's going on, man. Stop
everywhere. I just want to watch a game without having to be flashed a dong by Scolaro again. Every time, always providing these uncomfortable moments where he takes them out. We're like, oh, here comes a dong.
Here comes a dong.
Here comes a dong any second now. Yeah. Oh, there it is. I really thought I could get through this movie without that dong, but nope. I have to see another one. Here we go. FSU engineer writes, gentlemen, would you rather pitch underhanded to Edenfield, run the 60-meter hurdles with Trey Cunningham, or take a penalty kick against Christina Rote?
The last one. Number one, there's no way we're running hurdles.
Nope.
Well, but I definitely would not want to pitch to Michaela Edenfield.
Well, because if she hits it up the middle, it's not like I would be upset about giving up a 300-foot home run to her because she would do it. It's because if she smacks one up the middle, Brady doesn't have a dad. Brady's got to live the life that I have to live.
Trick of the trade.
Stephanie and Ira.
Trick of the trade there, Corey. You don't throw a ball on the outer half of the plate if you're trying to
I can control it as much as I do my underhand stuff.
Yeah.
I can put it where I want it.
You got to get it in on her hands, Corey. Get it in on her hands so there's no chance she gets extended. She gets extended, there's a chance that's off your face.
Yeah. I literally think if I pitched and thought it was in her sweet spot, that I would start crying and run away. Just cower and run away.
Oh, I would be running backwards as soon as I let it go.
Line drive.
I would zigzag. You got to zigzag.
Yeah. Like when assassins snipers at you.
An alligator.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, can I find a tree? I can't. It doesn't make sense how hard she hits a softball. It defies
it's
logic.
crazy. And it also doesn't make sense how good Trey Cunningham is. He won the 60-meter hurdles. There was legitimate space between him and the second guy. In 60 meters, that never happens. And he dominated that race. It looked like Usain Bolt or something. He's the best that's ever done it. Legitimately, he has the second best time in college history, and he just won his first national championship. I assume he'll win the one in the outdoors too. He's incredible.
Saul writes, how do the new lockers compare to the rest of the Power Five? Thanks, fellas. because we're running out of time here, I'll just say this. We are reaching a place, and I think we all know this now, all this shenanigans, whether it be a practice facility or anything else, it's going by the wayside, man. This is becoming an era where all that money, in my opinion, is going to be funneled to really good football players.
Yeah.
And so get ready to not have to talk about chocolate fountains and all that other stuff and what a locker room looks like or doesn't look like. It's nice to have a better one than others. That's true. But at the end of the day, man, these projects where we're asking everybody, the alumni and the boosters, to give millions of dollars, that's all going to be for NIL purposes moving forward, in my opinion. Like, you're going to give that to Rising Spear and others.
You still have to have nice facilities. They're going to have nice facilities. I mean, that's going to be the bare.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, Ira, is that once they conclude with the football only facility, what the hell else are you building?
No, that's a fair point. And what you've seen is the way the schools with more money were trying to differentiate themselves from everybody else was investing in those facilities. And now that they've done that, yeah, it's going to go more towards the NIL until there's some sort of structure put in place. But yeah, no, you're right. But Florida State has to at least catch up by building it, because some people are like, well, why even do a football facility? Well, they still have to catch up.
Yeah, let them catch up and then turn all that money into paying players so that, you know, guys don't get swept away on signing day to schools you've never heard of or whatever.
Yeah, and then get Hauser relocated. Those are the two.
Well, that's been they should have demolished that damn thing years ago. Anyhow, for Corey Clark and Ira Schaffel,
we did it, gang. We did it.
And Director Matthew. I'm Jeff. Thanks, everybody. Be well. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Peace.